Men who always end up cheating usually display these 7 behaviors to avoid getting caught. It can be unsettling to realize how frequently some people hide their intentions behind charm and carefully orchestrated stories. I've known friends who had that gut feeling something was off in their relationships, only to discover later that their partner had been deceiving them for months. It's a painful experience that leaves you wondering, how did they get away with it for so long? If you've ever felt blindsided by a partner's infidelity, you're not alone. Many people who cheat follow very similar patterns to avoid being caught. Below are 7 behaviors that can signal a pattern of chronic betrayal. 1. They suddenly become overly protective of their devices. A friend of mine once told me how her partner used to leave his phone all over the house, on the coffee table, kitchen counter, even in the backyard while mowing the lawn. Then one day, everything changed. He started carrying his phone everywhere, even into the bathroom. A passcode appeared where there hadn't been one before, and it felt like he was treating his phone as if it contained nuclear launch codes. A shift in digital habits can indicate more than just a desire for privacy. According to Very Well Mind, sudden changes in phone use, like deleting messages or clearing call logs, can be a strong indicator of hidden activities. When a partner becomes strangely protective of their screens, it can signal that they're actively trying to hide conversations or social media interactions. Sure, everyone values privacy, but the key difference here is the abrupt shift in behavior and a tendency to become anxious if you get too close to that phone. 2. They deflect personal questions or get overly defensive. I've noticed that when people have something serious to hide, they often develop a talent for turning the tables. You ask a perfectly harmless question like, "How was your evening?" And suddenly, you're the bad guy for being too nosy. If you feel as though asking about a partner's schedule or who they spent time with always leads to an argument, that's a potential clue something more is going on. Deflection and defensiveness are common tactics in relationships where trust has been breached. And more often than not, they mask guilt or shame. The cheating partner might feel cornered by simple questions and instinctively lash out. While being defensive doesn't automatically mean they're cheating, it raises a red flag if it's part of a larger pattern of stonewalling and refusal to talk about anything remotely personal or accountability related. 3. They create elaborate stories or details to cover their tracks. Some cheaters seem to get a thrill from crafting intricate alibis. It's almost like they're weaving a fictional novel. I had to stay late at work, then I grabbed dinner with Mark, and then I ran into a college buddy. The list goes on, accompanied by overly specific details that feel rehearsed. For a while, you might even believe it because everything sounds so plausible. According to research, individuals who lie frequently try to add convincing details to appear credible. However, these details can become a double-edged sword. The more complicated the story, the easier it is to slip up. You might notice something doesn't line up with what they said earlier, or they forget an important aspect of their own story. And if you point it out, the response can be hostility, or conveniently shifting the blame back onto you. 4. They display sudden shifts in affection. When men who cheat worry about getting caught, they can swing between being distant and overly attentive. One day they're ignoring your texts, and the next day they're buying you gifts or sending sweet messages at odd times. It's like they're trying to throw you off the scent or ease their own guilt by showering you with displays of affection. I once spoke with someone who mentioned that her unfaithful partner started planning these elaborate date nights out of nowhere. At first she was thrilled, thinking he'd just rediscovered his romantic side. But in hindsight, she realized it was a form of overcompensation for his infidelity. It's painful to think of romance as a cover-up strategy, but that's sometimes exactly what's happening. A flurry of affection to distract you from the red flags. 5. They engage in subtle gaslighting. If someone is determined to hide their infidelity, Gaslighting can become a powerful tool. They'll minimize your suspicions, make you doubt your memory, or claim you're being irrational when all you're doing is asking for clarity. This psychological manipulation can be so subtle at first that it's hard to recognize. One common phrase you might hear is, "You're just imagining things," or "Why are you so insecure?" These tactics are meant to shift the focus from their unfaithful actions to your emotional stability. Persistent gaslighting can undermine a person's ability to trust their own instincts. If you notice that every time you bring up something suspicious, you're left feeling like you're the one who messed up, that's a telling signal. 6. They cultivate secret social media or social circles. It's no secret that social media makes connecting with others so much easier, and that includes hidden connections. In many cheating stories, I've noticed a pattern: new social media accounts that the partner doesn't share, blocked lists that include close friends or even the significant other, and entire friendships that exist in a separate digital space. Sometimes it's not just about having a second Facebook or Instagram. It might also involve friend groups you've never heard of, or coworkers who magically appear in conversation only when necessary. If you're consistently excluded from gatherings, or there's always an excuse for why you can't tag along, that might be a clue. Secrecy in online spaces provides the perfect breeding ground for affairs. There's less chance of being recognized, and communication can be masked as harmless chatting. If the social media presence keeps you in the dark and doesn't align with the life you share, it's worth paying attention. 7. They keep you from meeting certain friends or family. It's natural for everyone to have a friend or two their partner might not be super close with. But if he's consistently avoiding introducing you to particular individuals or refuses to meet your circle, that can be a smoke signal rising high in the air. I've seen situations where the cheating partner didn't want their actual friends or family to slip up and reveal something, so they kept their worlds completely separate. From a psychological standpoint, this compartmentalization helps them maintain control. By insulating relationships, they reduce the odds of contradictory stories colliding. If nobody crosses paths, nobody can expose the lie. It's similar to how double agents in spy movies keep different parts of their life cordoned off, except this is happening in real life, and the stakes are your emotional well-being. While it's normal for people to have separate interests, when you're never welcomed into large parts of their life, it's worth questioning what they're trying to hide. Wrapping up. I know these signs can be unsettling. You might wonder how someone you trust could go to such lengths. But, as disheartening as it is, recognizing the pattern is a crucial first step in protecting your emotional well-being. No one deserves the uncertainty and heartbreak that comes with being deceived by someone they love. If your partner shows one or more of these behaviors, it's not a guarantee they're cheating, but it's a strong signal to trust your instincts and seek clarity. You don't have to settle for half-truths or confusion. Open communication and self-awareness can go a long way toward helping you decide what's best for your own happiness. In the end, staying true to yourself and maintaining your emotional health should always be at the forefront.